Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, FM, Becky, Twist, People versus Preds? I think it's your first time being in here, man. Thank you for showing up, bud. Becky, Lori, and Jax, thank you for showing up. Just give it a couple of minutes, let everybody come in, and we'll get started. How's everybody doing today so far? What's up, Cat Eyes? How you doing? We'll just give it a couple more minutes. Let more people come in. Hope everybody had a good weekend, like I said earlier. So, what's up, Jax? Guys, go ahead and like the stream. That way, more people can jump on in here too to hear this, what he has to say, and have him tell a story today. Is that an echo on your end, or is it on mine?
I don't hear an echo at
Oh,
all.
it might be on mine. That's
Yeah, if that's what
probably
you're.
my fault. What's up, Eagle? Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to the Predator Hunter as well. He's got a YouTube channel if you want to subscribe to him and check out his stuff. I believe it's your first time in here, Eagle. Welcome. Thank you for coming in, man. So I guess we go ahead and get started in here. People can come in whenever they want. I just want to thank everybody for coming today, for joining in as I interview the Predator Hunter. What's up, Phil? He's going to be telling us the story. We'll be doing that. Going forward, I just want to say something off that. I won't be looking at the comments as much now going forward. So if I miss your comment, it's not done on purpose. I'm not deliberately doing that. I just want to give my guest the undivided attention that he deserves. And I feel me paying more attention to the chat and the comments takes away from that. So I won't be highlighting as many comments. Like I said, going forward, just to pay attention more to my guest, and we can have more better dialogue. And two, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm purposely leaving them out. If we have questions later on, of course, I'll be reading that. And if somebody points out something interesting, I'll highlight that as well. But just straight across the board, I'm just not going to be doing highlighting or anything like that. I won't be paying attention to chat as much, just to give this man undivided attention. So, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man.
That's good to hear. What brings you? Where are you from?
Um, I'm from Owen Sound, Ontario, Canada. It's like a couple. It's maybe 2 hours northwest of Toronto. I was born here. I've mostly lived here my whole life, mostly. So it's a smaller town. It's only got like 22,000 people in it. It's kind of off to its own thing. So yeah, that's where I'm from. Just a small town guy, you know.
Mhm.
So
So
never
have you lived?
really
So have you lived in that small town your whole life, or?
like 99% of it really. I traveled and lived a couple other places for a few months here and there, but already, I've mostly lived here. You know,
Okay.
I lived in British Columbia for a while, in Quebec for a while, and stuff, and up north. But it was only for a few months at a time. I've really been like, the hospital I was born at was is like, I don't know, like a 2 minute drive from here. So I've always just really mostly been here. So
So you're in a town pretty much like with one traffic light. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's what's going on.
yeah, yeah, I know a lot. Pretty much, like you do something around here, and like everybody knows about it in like 10 minutes, right? Like just you know, it's you gotta keep to yourself around here type of thing and not cause trouble because everybody knows you. You know, like
Yeah.
anything that happens, people just know right off the bat who's who. So it's kind of nice, kind of bad because there's some weird people around town that know who I am and approach me, and it's like I wish I was somewhere bigger because they wouldn't have to put up with all these people that know me that I don't really want. But
Hmm.
it's also good too because I know a lot of good people around town and they're all like 2 minutes away from where I live. So if I need a friend to talk to, I can just pop by in like 2 seconds, you know, not really have to worry about too many people on the streets and stuff. So it's kind of nice that way. But sometimes it can be kind of lonely because it's a smaller town. But you know,
Hmm.
whatever.
So you pretty much know everybody, like the same family doctors lived there for 30 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what tell us a little bit about your background.
Honestly, I'm kind of a boring person, but um, basically, like I don't I got like hobbies and stuff that like I don't like when I was born I had like seizures and stuff like that and like I have a lot of brain trauma and stuff like that. So throughout my life, like maybe I shouldn't say this, but here's the kind of the thing with me, right? I don't work full time jobs and stuff like that. I just can't with dealing with like people in general. So I've always made my own path and stuff in life. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I ended up just having a lot of time type of thing. So I try and keep myself busy. Like I like music. You know what I mean? I play guitar and stuff like that. And I figured like to keep myself happy and stuff like that. You know, because I'm often just by myself and stuff like that. You know, so I always try and keep myself busy with something like that. You know, music's important to me. Like I want to like start a channel that was just doing music and stuff like that, getting it out there. Because
Hmm.
like I play guitar and stuff like that. It's always been a kind of a gateway for me and stuff like that. So, um, you know, like things like that, I like doing. I do martial arts and stuff for discipline and stuff like that. You know, um, I just try and I don't know, man. Things like that I like doing on my spare time helps keep me disciplined in my head and focused. You know, because I have a lot of like ADHD and stuff like that, and I find I have to have like things to really focus on.
Hmm.
You know, and if I don't, I kind of get on the wrong path and do stupid stuff and like once I start on not taking care of myself and stuff, so I always try and do something with my time, like whether it's music or I like going for walks to clear my head a lot too. Like I just find with the fresh air to like I find I just spend so much time by myself. Sometimes I just need to get out in the fresh air, things like that. I
Hmm.
like consider myself like in some ways a very chill person sometimes, but I have to like focus on that and stay on it because if I don't, then like I'm off like all crazy and stuff like that. So I always try and keep up with like I'm a huge gamer too. Like I would play like until my Xbox broke like a year and a half ago. I played like 15 hours a day easy, like playing my Xbox and going online and just whatever, and keeping busy like that throughout life and like stuff like that, keeping myself focused like that, like, you know, I'm kind of a boring person that way.
Yeah. So
So I just,
the seizures that you had, was it something that you were born with, or did you have some type of condition, or
oh, with my Caesars,
yeah.
um, so I had like, I don't know, when I was like a few months old, like I was born healthy, but I had like three seizures before I was even a year old and two operations before I was a year old. And like two of the seizures I had, it was like a pediatric Caesar. I can't think of it from the top of my head, but it's um, two of them I was unconscious for like 30, 40 minutes at a time. One of them I was closer to an hour. And like growing up when I was like, I don't know, 3 or 4, I remember having like anxiety attacks and stuff like that. And I started becoming very like withdrawn and vulnerable and had like huge anxiety attacks, like and stuff like that. And that's kind of where life started for me at that point, and kind of started like getting kind of wonky at that point once I was kind of old enough and people kind of knew, like, you know what I mean? Like my mom was always kind of like freaking because I was always having anxiety attacks, and I just attributed to like seizures and stuff. I don't have any now, but like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've had other things happen to me since then that kind of like put me in a spot. I think when you have something like that happen to you at that young of an age, it can like leave a lot of bad imprints on you right off the bat. You know what I mean? Because of my age and stuff when it happened. But that affected my whole life. But you know, that made me the person I am today. So I wouldn't, if I went back and had a choice, I would go through all that again, you know, because it made me a stronger person for it. And my whole life, like I just try and reflect on things like that, you know, and like whether it's through music or through whatever, like friends or whatever, like I just find that I can have a gateway to that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I had I I had a lot of other things happen to me too later on in life, and this and
Mm-hmm.
that. But it started really with the seizures. I had three before I was like 12 months old, and then like yeah, it was bad. Um, like my mom was. I was out. One of the times, the third seizure I had, I was unconscious for like I don't know, 45 minutes. And my mom had to drive to my grandfather, and I was out, and we were out in the middle of nowhere. So he had to drive us like an hour to the nearest hospital. And I think that, you know what I mean? Like that was some scary stuff, man. And like that kind of affected my life. And that's kind of a starting point in my life and where it kind of started for me. And I just kind of, I'm kind of happy to be alive after all that, you know?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, you know, and sometimes with stuff like that, you always think you're kind of alone. But you know, I've had a few other friends in life that have had similar experiences like that, and I've just learned to open up to them and kind of relate to them, you know, and see their struggles and how it affects their life, and you know, like that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was like when other people have been through something like that, like similar to what I've been through, I try and help them or learn off them, because if they've been through something I have, like way before I went through it, I might ask them about like, so how did you deal with like having all those seizures, or how did you deal with all that kind of stuff? Because I can learn from it, and then I could pass it on to somebody else that might, you know, like need to know some information or what to, you know, look for, like, you know, that kind of stuff. So
Is there anything that triggers the seizures?
there we go. That's kind of lagging a little bit. It's my reception.
Oh, you're good. Is there anything that triggers the seizures, or does it just happen randomly?
Oh, did they happen like randomly?
Mm-hmm.
The seizures, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine were anyway. But with seizures and stuff like that too, like you can get re. If I got clunked in the head really, 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 really hard, I might have a seizure. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But me having one, a random seizure now, no. But when I was younger, yes. Like, my I have a relative that had somewhat of the same problem, and it was kind of under the same circumstances. He kind of grew up and had a couple of seizures, and then it just stopped. So I just figured that I'm pretty much okay as long as I don't like, you know, get hit in the head like really, really, really hard. And I mean, I've already had like 4 concussions already, like too many to have.
It's
But I'd
crazy.
be most likely be okay.
That's crazy. I
Is
mean,
it like
I'm just fine. I think you're lagging on your end, but you're good.
gonna put this up a bit because I don't know if I'm getting the best reception. Yeah, I've got a bit of lag, so I don't know if it's
You're
going
fine,
through or
man. If
not.
you go out, I'll get you to come back in. That's not a problem, man. Hey, are you in like a? Just give us 1 second. What's up, FM? Yeah, I think it was on his end. He says he's in a small town, so he doesn't get as good signal. So I'll give him a couple minutes. Thank everybody for stopping in. Creep. Hey, Jinx. What's up, Courtney? Hey, Julie. Thank you, Jen, for stopping by. He's coming back again. And what's up, T. Roy? Are you good?
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good. It happens, man. I know
Okay, can you
you're in a
hear me
small
all right?
town, so I can hear you just fine, man. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Is it working?
Okay. No, you're just fine, man. I'm glad to have you back. I lost track of what we were talking about. You were talking. I think you were still talking about your seizures.
Oh, yeah. Like they used to happen quite just randomly. Really, like mostly where, yeah. If I got hit in the head pretty hard though, I'd have another one probably. Or if I overdose on like a lot of drugs or something, it might trigger it. But I don't have random ones anymore though. It kind of ran in the family a little bit, but
Mhm.
like whatever. Like the people that I'm related to that have it, like they grew out of it too. So, but I think that it always leaves sort of an imprint just based on like all that trauma and all the stuff like that. Like it threw me into a bad downward spiral in life and stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
It
So,
does. It just started a whole avalanche of stuff, man.
so can you
But
not work because of those seizures, or is it just?
well, like I've had full-time jobs before. It's just about
Mhm.
the focus. Like I have like bipolar disorder and PTSD and stuff, so it's hard for me to I like sometimes people are weird to me if that makes sense. Like just in general, like trying to relate to people and trying to keep focused and not like I have a lot of energy, a lot of emotions. So sometimes like I'm on edge. Like it's like I can't calm down. I can't calm down. I can't focus. Like sometimes I'm just angry as a person. I just want to like punch people out. Like I'm like that sometimes,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes it's just getting up and like in the morning it usually like takes me a few hours to get going. Like I always have to like have a cup of coffee or two or three, like have a couple smokes, like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Like I I just like I use like cannabis because I like all the time because I have to, stuff like that. So sometimes like getting out and doing stuff and keeping like focused and stuff like that is kind of hard for me. And the motivation, like I have to be motivated to do something in the right way. Like it has to come from the heart. So like I help like my parents' business out a lot, right? Like going and like do whatever they need to do, like whatever, right? Like they're in the trade business, so sometimes they need an extra labor. I do stuff like that, but I can't. I couldn't just work at like a random grocery store or something like that. You know what I mean? That's not beneath me
Yeah.
or anything like that. Like it's just not me, the person. Does that make sense? Like I just couldn't focus on that and just do it. Like it's not
Mhm.
beneath me. It's just I'm not the guy to do that. And it's just like with I have a lot of bipolar disorder too, so like there's times in my life where like I'm out for months, like months on end, just like I cannot leave my house. I can't like talk to people. Like I don't go and see my friends. Like it's just me because I'm just really out of it, and it's hard to focus with that kind of stuff. So like I don't always have the proper like medications on hand because it's kind of just tough where I live and stuff like that. But I just make it by with what I have, to be perfectly honest. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like basically, like I just gotta find. That's kind of why I like interested in doing like stuff like music in the long run too, because that's something I am good at. I know a lot of people that have a lot of friends that are into like producing and making music and recording, and I did a lot of drama and music theater growing up, and I've been on radio and stuff like that. So as long as I could focus on something like that, that would be something I would pursue in the long run, like full time type of thing when I could do it, like when I have all the equipment set up and stuff like that. It's just trying to get grounded on that, focused on that, and see what I like. You know, like if I can sit down and focus on it, then I can do it. And I've just never been able to like focus on anything because there's a lot that goes through my mind. You know, like
Mhm.
once I focus on something, I have it though. You know, so like you know,
So I know there's a bad stigma when it comes to people talking about bipolar disease. So shout out to you for talking about it openly. Um,
yeah.
what what caused that? You said it was. I mean, what triggered that? Was it something you were born with, or was there an
Um,
event that triggered that um, for you to be bipolar? Because, like I said, there's a bad stigma when people say they're bipolar because people automatically think that they're crazy. So I just want people to get a better understanding of what exactly it is and the things that that are entailed with it.
um, with me, I a lot of that kind of stuff kind of runs in the family. Like, there's some, like, there's a few people in my family that have like ADHD. I don't know if anybody in my family's got like bipolar disorder, but I know that I've got it, and it has to be genetic to a point, right? But I think too, like, it was kind of triggered off one thing to another. I think it was kind of genetic a little bit, but it kind of got set off at a young age when, like, you know, when you're having seizures, when you're like 4 months old and your eyes are rolling back and stuff like that, that can really set off additional trauma. So I've kind of, I've kind of just thought it was a bit of both, to be honest. Like, it just kind of got enough
Mhm.
genetic of it, where it was like I might have
I think he's going out again.
it, I might not, and then once I kind of really started getting more other trauma, like seizures and other things, that's when it really just. So, I mean, yeah, I try and figure that out where I can because there's ways to figure it out with like like I studied psychology when in college when I was still in high school, right? Because I had to figure out that kind of stuff and how you get to that point because it's not as
I think he just went out. So, here we go. There we go. What's up, Bobby Joe? Um, I'm not deliberately ignoring you. I
yeah.
saw your comment. I'm just paying more attention to the. Yes, I'm not paying attention to as comments as much.
Sorry, it's
What's up,
my
buddy?
reception. I had to use
Oh,
my
you're good, man.
I had to use my cell phone at the last second because I was trying to hook up my webcam and stuff to my computer. I hadn't set it up quite properly and I had to restart my computer. So I have to rely on my slower internet speed on my phone. So I'll
Oh, what's up, Nick? We'll get this. One or another, we'll get this.
okay.
There we go. once again.
It's weird. Okay, now we're back.
I,
Yeah, so
you're good, man.
I did I had to use my phone instead of my PC today, so my reception
Yeah,
is
you're
not
fine,
the
man.
best. I do
We'll do as
apologize for
many.
that. I really do. I'm looking forward to this interview, man.
No, we'll do it as much time as possible, man. I know living out um in a rural area, it's hard. Do you have like satellite TV and stuff like that, or do you have high speed internet?
um, I got like on my computer, I've got like I don't know 100 megabits, but it doesn't work like it's 100 megabits. Like I can't even get Wi-Fi off my router, and I've only got one port. So
Hmm.
on my phone, I've got unlimited data, but I used up all the shareable data downloading like apps and stuff to set up my phone, and then so it's running on a slightly slower speed, I think. So
It's all right, man. So what got you into hunting predators? What made you want to do that?
well, because so I suffer from complex post traumatic stress disorder, and what that is like I get triggered off by more than one traumatic event because I've had more than one traumatic event, right?
Hmm.
We all have. I'm not here to like taking away anything away from anybody else, okay? But when I was really young, there was a man who like he started like touching me and stuff inappropriately, like sexually, and when I was like 3, maybe, okay, and like it just started a bad pattern, okay? So like in my life, like I suffer from like PTSD from a lot of sexual abuse, and it caused me a lot of psychological trauma, and like all every day of my life it is a 24/7 thing, man. Like people
Hmm.
tell me to let it go, and you just can't. You can grow and move on, but you don't get over it, man. So he touched me a bunch of times and wasn't a very nice person. And sometimes he'd be like in my bed and stuff like that. And, like not always, like it was weird stuff. And as I grew older, when I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, like some other people started touching me and stuff like that. Like women too. Like I'd be at a place and I'd be like 15, and you know, some woman would just come up to me and just grab my, like whatever, start grabbing me up here and down there and be like, "Oh, you're cute," and I'd be like, "You're 27. I'm like 15.
Yeah,
You can't." Stuff like that happened to me a lot, and every day of my life I think about it, and it keeps me up at night. It's the one thing, man, that I can never get over. I suffer trauma from like car accidents too, and I'd rather be in a car accident every time, man. And I like it. I don't know, like I see these people getting molested all the time and like stuff like that, and I just think about bad things, man. Like like people. I don't know why people would want to meet a little kid, man. Like
yeah,
that's the thing. Like as a person who's been touched and pinned down more than one time in my life by more than one person for years and years on end, like I've never had a kid and I will never have kids, but every time somebody wants to meet a kid, that I just want to go and hurt that person, man. Like I literally will, like there's nowhere safe for those people. Like I know kids that age, like my friends' kids, and like I would rage, man. Like there's something about me, like you would, and that's why I hunt, man. Like I don't want that to happen to somebody else, like there's a lot of trauma that I go through that I don't even talk about. There's stigma with being touched too, by the way,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's different for males and females, man, because guys usually will touch a female, right? Normally that's just the way people think,
yeah,
if you will, like that, like don't, if you know what I'm getting at, right? Like so when people talk about touching like little girls, it's like more accepted, and then when it comes to boys, well, it didn't happen, and then like it's kind of, it was hard for me to talk about it because I never did until I was like in my 20s. You know, like I only told like one person when I was like 20, and then I didn't really tell anybody else until I was like 27. I'm 32 now, so I held that in for a long time. You know, and the recycle of just people coming up to me and like trying to like fuck me when I'm like 12, 13, 10, whatever age, like we'd be at places and like people when I was younger, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'd be at the mall with my younger brothers, and we'd have creepy old men come up to us, and I'd be like, it's weird. Like one time, like there's this guy who's following us around the mall, and I was like 8, and I have 2 younger siblings, so my youngest brother was like, I don't know, 3 at the time, and there was this guy following us around, like trying to pick up my bro and stuff like that, and like saying all this stuff to my bro. He's cute, blah blah blah, this and that, and you know, like, and you know, like being at the same mall, like later on, like it was one time I was out in the parking lot waiting for my mom to come out, and there was this guy who came up to us, and that we were sitting in the van, and he was trying to get in the van and stuff with us, and he's like, "Oh, I want to talk to you, little boy," and shit like that. Here I'm 10, and I got 2 other brothers with me in the car that are younger than I was. I didn't know who this person was. He said that he waited for our mom to go into. He said that he was waiting for our mom to go into the mall so he can come and talk to us. And he's knocking on the window where we are, like in the van. So shit like that. And he was trying to get in,
That's
trying to get
creepy
in,
as
trying to
hell.
get. There's a million stories like that, man. Like, it's not just people going after little girls. It's people that are going after boys, and it's a real problem. And you know,
Yeah.
and I feel like partly why I like doing it is to raise awareness on the other end too. That it's not just men that are meeting little girls, it's men and women meeting boys and girls, man. Because I was touched by women too, and they don't think twice about it. They get away with it because
Mhm.
the way women and men
It's
operate
a
are
stigma.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a man would meet, like they have the testosterone, so they're willing to just meet up and not think as fast. Where a woman's more patient and will like leave their, like they're patient. That's why you don't get as many meetups with females. Now, with that being said, I talk to female predators all the time online, all the time, all the time, all the time. What you see on my channel is a small fraction of what like I've been through in my life. Like those are just the recent catches that I've made, right? I've
Hmm.
you know, like there's a lot of things that I can't show too, right? Like, you know, like I had a bad experience with creepy pedophile like in 2009, and I still can't get rid of that person in my life. Like it can't, they're still out there doing shit, and I've had to like, you know what I mean, like crazy shit, and nobody wants to do anything about those people. Like they're just out there touching little kids, and you make a police report, and half the time they don't do anything about it. You know, like 60% of sexual abuse cases against kids are not even reported. You know, and as a person who's been touched, that's not okay with me. That is not okay with me. Like,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
I
Like, you know,
I
stuff like that. Like it motivates me to like go out and like I don't have kids, but when I know my friends' kids or whatever, I see their faces, and I think of that, and I'm like when I was that age, you know, I was messed up. I was really messed up, and to this day, I'm still really messed up. Like in my head, in some ways, I'm just still a kid. You know, like I'm still a kid, that ADHD kid. Like I'm like that a lot, man, and I just wouldn't want that to happen to anybody else. Because at least the drugs, man, like I've
Mhm.
had numerous suicide attempts in my life. Like even to this day, I still struggle with it. Like you know what I mean? Like if I'm not focused on doing this, like that's where I end up. You know, if I'm not doing something like this or music, like that's where I end up, man. And you get a lot of flashbacks, and they're always constant every day. Like it's there, you know, and like I just can't take it, you know. Like I wanted to start doing this back like on YouTube like 5 6 years ago, like when Justin Payne started this, like in around the area. Like I saw his videos and like creep catchers and the whole shebang. Like I've been around like doing keeping up with this kind of stuff for a long time. You know, like the first person that I came across that was like a pedophile online, like I was in high school, man. Like it started for like real life instances, like I said before, with me. But when I was in high school, though, there was a lot of people online that were adults that were talking to kids and not in the right way. So this is like 2007, and I started
Mhm.
like being on the forums looking. I was just looking for people my own age at the time, and then like with the forums and stuff like that, you realize that like half your friends are talking to adult men that are like twice their age, and they're like, you know, it's not right with the things they were saying. You know what I mean? Like, and my friends would try and get me to set up to be with these people that were older, and I'd be like, you know, I didn't really know better back then either, but I kind of did. And then now, uh, like I look back and I think like how like I was even more vulnerable than I thought I was back then, right? But
Yeah.
back then it was like I was just kind of like just as much likely to talk to some of these people as much as I knew that they were weird people, right? Because I didn't know as much difference. But I always thought it was weird that these adults that were like, some of them would have like photos of like kids that were like their profile pic, and like all these kids would hit them up and stuff like that, and because the kids thought they were cool. But then it's like, you know, it was weird to me. It was really strange. And then after high school, I ran into somebody that was a really bad person, and I still have to deal with them today, like every day of my life. And it's bad, man. It's bad. Like I did my first decoy account when I was like in 2009, you know, and then I didn't really do much until recently because there's like back then it was like who was posting the YouTube with this shit? Nobody was. Like what you had was Chris Hansen like repeats on, right? Like that's pretty much what you had. So I had to like lay low for like years and years, and people were doing this kind of on YouTube and doing it the way they're doing it now, and doing it
Mhm.
really good. And then uh, that's how I got here. Like I just too much personal experiences, man. Like too much. Like, you know, like when I was molested and stuff like that caused me to do drugs, man. Like I overdosed on drugs like 3 times in my life, man. When I
That's
was
what I
like
was going to ask you. Whenever you got molested, you said you did drugs that's just to help cope with the pain?
yeah, I started popping pills when I was okay, when I was 14 and a half, I started drinking. And I started popping pills when I was like 15, and that didn't stop until I was 21. And you know, part of it was just being abused all the time and being just down and like all that kind of stuff, and nobody loved me. You know what I mean? Nobody cared about me. Nobody did. The only person who cared about me was me, I guess, and that's not saying much either, right? So I
Mhm.
popped a bunch of pills when I was like 19 a couple times, and like tried to end it because it was bad. I couldn't take the trauma in my own life anymore, right? Like, and then I came clean. Okay, I've been like I don't touch that shit. Like I drink now again, but I didn't drink for like 6 years. You know, like I don't pop pills anymore. I don't like I smoke weed. I do stuff like acid or DMT, and like I'll binge drink on the occasion, but like I don't do anything like I don't do meth. I don't sniff coke, but I know people I know kids that do that are on the street that like been through shit like I have, and to me that's like why I do what I do. Like it all leads to that kind of stuff, man. And I just I wouldn't want somebody to live that life I did, man. And when I see a person, whether they're whatever age, like I just want to help that person to my best ability. They could be an adult or a kid. I just want to help that person, man. And like I know my boundaries and stuff like that, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't like you hear all these predators that want to like you know, like, oh, I just want to help the kid. And it's like, so do I, but I didn't hit the kid up on Grinder, did you? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not here meeting the kid. I just think about the kid and be like, if they're, you know, if, whatever, I just will help the kid in whatever way I can. Meeting them off Grinder is not the way to do it. It
Yeah.
just
We
seems
all
like
have
it's you
issues.
know?
It's just how you deal with it. You don't have to go try to meet a minor on the internet just because you have issues.
Yeah, you know, like people, they'll always say that. Well, I was molested as a kid, so like that makes it okay. Well, I was molested too more than one time. I can go into details. Okay, I've seen like little kids not make it back. Okay, like the trauma was real, and like there's no excuse for anything like that. Like nothing, nothing. Okay, like your dad might have put your hands on you, but that doesn't give you the right to repeat the process when you're an adult or whatever the case is. Like, oh, maybe your dad's an alcoholic. It's like, okay, but that doesn't mean that you should go and repeat the cycle, right? I don't mean to be judgmental when I say that. I just mean that like there's certain things you can't really use as an excuse when you personally know better, right? Like if you know better, then you shouldn't do it, right?
Mhm.
And I hear that all the time where like I'm targeting them because they're gay or they're targeting them because this or that or it's their first time or like they have autism or they have this or they were molested and it's like it's all excuses, man. Like I have ADHD. Like I'm a horny person. I'll admit that. I'm like all the time, but I don't go out and touch people. I just don't go up to somebody and just touch them. I don't. You keep your hands to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
What
people
your
in our
parents used to tell you. Keep your hands to yourself.
yeah. I mean, that's like how can an adult not understand that?
Yeah.
Like a kid might not completely grasp that idea because they're too young. They're kind of in a weird place, right? But an adult though, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
There's-
every day of my life, I just think and be like, what am I gonna do? Like, am I gonna sit around watching the world burn even more, or am I gonna go and try and do something about it? And once I got comfortable enough with like my own demons in my head, because going out there and confronting these people, it's not an easy thing to
It's
do.
not easy.
It people think it's easy, but it's not. Like I have a lot of social anxiety and like PTSD when it comes to like pedophiles and stuff. So there, it's like it's a trigger, right? Like I wouldn't want to be in the same room because I want to hurt these people, but I couldn't sit around in my life thinking like, well, I could do something about it. Like I'm an angry person, but if I brought a camera like everybody else, that would force me to become a better person because I'd be forced to talk to that person and not be like reaching out my hand because there's times where I want to hurt these people. I won't lie. I like they're scummy people, man. But I'm also a better person than that. And I was just like, either I stay at home continuing the problem to happen and let my own like craziness get a hold of me too, and it's like a downward spiral, or I could just muster up the courage and do the right thing and be like, yo, yeah, I've got anxiety. I don't just go up to people and start talking to people, but like,
Hmm.
and yes, like if I'm in the same room
You
with
own it.
a like predator, it's like not good for me, right? But if I have a camera,
Mhm.
there's accountability for me,
Yeah.
right? So the camera's for their safety, not mine. At the end of the day, like to be perfectly honest. Now, like I know that confronting them's not always like the safest thing. Don't get that twisted, but I could care less if something happened to me. And if I don't have a camera, I would do bad stuff. So for me, it's how I deal with it's my exposure therapy. I go out and I feel like a different person. I feel like a more controlled person in my life because I'm going after the one thing that I have troubles with, like dealing with, like bad people like that. And it going out, if I can do that, it's like climbing Mount Everest. If I can go out and conquer that and deal with that, then other things like dealing with normal people and dealing with friends, it's a lot easier for me just to like speak up on something and say, hey, like, you know what I mean? Because I deal with really bad people, and if I can talk to
Mhm.
them and deal with that when like I know I can't, but somehow I do, then I can talk to normal people again, and I can just relate to normal people and be like, what's the problem? Because like I can just speak to people that are normal better. Like, so, like, because some of my friends, like, I'm close to a lot of my friends, but I don't always get out, and I'm not always an open person. And
Yeah.
confronting predators who want to give kids drugs, the whole thing, like, whatever, like, doing that helps propel me to, I don't know, get the courage and the confidence to know that I can do something, right? Like it can go out and like it takes a lot of balls, man, and
Hmm.
to go out and do that. And then two, it helps me like not think of my own psychological trauma as much. Like when I'm out confronting another pedophile or predator or whatever you want to call them, right? Like it just helps me like not think of my own trauma, or it helps me like focus it on them and be like, yo, like the inner child in me that's not healed, it's unleashing on you right now. Like it's like, like once I start popping off on them, it's good for me because then it's like my personal like inner child. It feels like I feel like I've had a voice, like I retroactively have a voice for myself, and
You're
I
giving
can
that
project
voice.
that to other people, and be like,
Yeah.
I I know a lot of people, and I just think of their faces when I confront predators, like so and so's kid that I know. I think of their face when I'm yelling at a predator and be like, "That's for that kid over there, man. Like that's for them." Like stuff like that. People come forward all the time with information, and it's really nice knowing that like sometimes when a kid comes forward or anybody comes forward, like they're like, I wouldn't have told you this if I didn't see your video type of thing. And like to me that's so satisfying knowing that you had a voice, like you saw a video of mine or whoever's, and like you came forward because of it, and you don't have to feel trapped because like a couple of kids came forward about a couple of people that are on my channel that I've exposed, and like I don't think they would have come forward if I didn't have that video up. You know what I mean? I don't care about the cloud or the views for me, but knowing that like that person came forward because of like a video that I had up, it's nice knowing because that kid or their parents, they can feel free, and I never had that when I was their age. So just being able to like pay it forward, it's kind of satisfying when you know that like kind of that helps me like go of my own because I've tried therapy in the past where you sit down with somebody and it really depends on who the person is. You always feel like the person is just there to like give me money so I can listen to you, and it doesn't really like do much. Where I find the way I do things is like different because I've been through that. I'm not being paid for this. I lose money. I'll spend $300, my last $300 on like to get a catch, and at that point it's like my last $300. I haven't paid rent. I haven't ate food, nothing, and I'll just make a catch because it's just like it's more important for me to do that because then I feel satisfied knowing that like I'm okay in my head, and that's partly because there's a video that's going up that's exposing somebody that probably touched some other kid, and I want that kid to come forward to whoever, me or the cops or their parents or whoever, and be like, "Yo, there's this video of this guy that touched me," and then they can go to the police, and there you go. Like that's what I do, man. That's why I do
That
it.
makes it that makes it rewarding knowing that you've had somebody say, "Hey, I watched your video and it helped me talk about what happened to me or share with you my experience and maybe get that predator off the street." You know what I'm saying? That's nothing better than that. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah, to another reason is the cops don't often do as much as they should, especially with the local authorities I've had troubles with. Like, they don't really give a shit, to be honest. But that's another reason why I like doing what I'm doing because if the police aren't going to do anything about it, then people shouldn't be notified on that too, right? Like, you'd want to
Hmm.
know like, if, like, that's the thing. You go to some police departments and they're completely fine with what we do and they'll arrest somebody on site type of thing. And then there's other places that are just like, go fuck yourself. And I'm like, no, like, you're talking about a real kid. Like, like carrying a gram of crack cocaine is okay, but or not okay, but like touching a kid is okay. But just make sure that
Yeah,
you don't bring the crack or whatever. Like it's like no, man.
it's fucked up.
Like you're probably selling that crack to an adult, which is don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, I don't condone that, but I'd rather smoke crack as an adult
then
and
hurt a
buying
kid.
it from an adult than meeting like any day of the week. I'm sorry, it's the way it is, right? Like I know people that do drugs and like I don't condone that, but they're adults too. And if they want to buy a gram of meth for themselves, it's like I whatever, like that's not my thing, but that's different than like meeting a kid, and yet the cops are like, well, the meth is worse. It's like, the meth is bad. Yeah, you shouldn't go and buy that shit, but I'd rather have somebody in a, like, if you're comparing the two, what's worse, meeting a kid or having a gram of meth? Meeting a
Yeah.
kid, you know. And half the time, like, you'll see a guy meet up and be like, here's some drugs for the kid, right? And they only get in trouble for having possession of that drug, opposed to being there giving the drugs to get the laws changed, and the whole, like, you know, everywhere, and raising awareness to, like, get everybody informed. So, like, the politicians and the DAs and the cops that like us, like, that's good. And the ones that don't, like, we only want to be on your side, man. We only want to work together and, like, get stuff done because there's a problem, right? Like, we want to help, not make things
Not
worse.
hurt them. Yeah, not try to make things worse, and try to limit what you guys can do to help keep the creeps off the street. Now, have you said you've had resistance, and have you had people like cops thank you for um, stopping a friend or work with you? Have there been very few instances of that happening?
Of what?
I think
Police trying to work with us, you said?
no, no. Please, like at least acknowledge saying you did a good job, or I think he's
They
breaking up
don't do
on.
much. No. Yeah, no cop is really officially, like, wanted to work directly with us per se. There's some that like what we do, and just some that we don't. Like, when, like, the ones around in town, they were okay with us at first, but then whatever. Like, they told us to stop, so we really did. But around town, some of the other places, like, they love us just as much. Like, they arrested one guy on the spot, and the detective was like, "Dude, like, you guys are freaking awesome," and stuff like that. You know, like, they didn't throw us,
Mhm.
like, they didn't. They weren't like, "Oh, like, next time you set up a sting, let us know." But they didn't tell us to stop.
Yeah,
They kept telling us to keep doing what we were doing, man. And, like, you know, for me, it's just trying to get all the stations on the same page, right? And be like, yo, like, why do some of the stations not really care to do, you know, take the cases, and why are some of them, to me, they all should just take it. Like,
yeah,
we don't need to set up stings with each other and, like, all this crazy stuff, but we should just be on the same page, right? Like, if one
exactly.
department if one department's one view and another department's on a different level, that doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not okay to do it over in one place, but it's okay to do somewhere else, it doesn't make sense when it's illegal. Like, I don't know. Like, that's kind of the problem, is that there's always the double standard. There's always people, like, that are not gonna, like, you know, be with us anyway. I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, it's a tricky line. Now, you don't have many catches on your YouTube channel. Where are your catches at? What, are they on another streaming platform or?
oh, okay, so a lot of the stuff I just haven't been able to upload, to be honest. So,
Okay.
like, for example, like, I've been uploading this one video for the last, like, 3 weeks, like, because I've got, like, my internet's like 100 megabits per second, but it doesn't run like it. It runs like dial up, and, like, I've got, like, two catches that are, like, uploading right now, but, like, they take forever. A lot of the stuff, like, for example, the first guy I busted in town, he was going after a little girl, and I couldn't record the confrontation, but he did 6 months in prison now. And then a couple of other of my catches that I had, I didn't even get on camera because there was a couple of malfunctions with my camera. So, like, stuff like that. There's another confrontation. Well, there's another person that I've kind of mentioned before that I've been talking to for a really long time, and, like, I can't expose that person at the moment because it's a really fucked up, tricky situation, right? And I've got a bunch of, like, chat logs, like, hundreds and 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 hundreds of chat logs that I just have not posted yet, because, like, half of them don't lead to catches, because, like, there was no catch because of this reason, the account went down halfway through, or the person like shows up but then they bail, like they, or like you show up and then they don't show up. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff like that's behind the scenes that I just couldn't or can't post. But I would say like in the last year, since I did like started posting YouTube, I'd say I have about like, there's like three catches maybe that like, there's like two or three, there's one catch that I don't have up at all that I had recorded, and then there's a bunch of other catches that were like half recorded or have like lots of different camera angles that I just don't have access to. I lost a lot of stuff, man. Like I've lost like videos from like a long time ago, chat logs from like I don't know, like one guy I've been talking to since 2009. I'm not even kidding about that. Not even joking about that. I got witnesses and everything like that. And like, I can't get all the chat logs or everything up on, and all the phone calls and everything like that. Cause some of them weren't recorded, or they're so old, they're on a computer that's just like long gone and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like creep catching goes, like, yeah, I'd say I have most of my videos and catches are up into some capacity, because I started recording stuff like confrontations more in the last year, right? Like more or less. Before that, I really didn't at all, because I kind of thought about it, but I just could never do it. But I would say that I'm missing maybe like two or three catches that I haven't even uploaded. Most of them are just like chat logs, people
Okay.
that wanted to meet up but they never showed up. Like I've got crap loads of stuff like that. Not just on Grinder, like Hornet, like Scout, like on my phone. I've got more than 1,000 apps on it, like on my phone that I'm using, because it's like 512 gigabytes. So I downloaded every single app possible. Like I did, like it's like 200 gigabytes of data, and just going through all the profiles, and it's kind of hard to keep up and post, because like half the time they don't really make it meet up, and then like half the time when they do, I like camera goes down, or like stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff overall. There's a lot of stuff I haven't posted, right? But
Okay.
most of my
Um,
recorded catches are up to some capacity though, except for a couple. So
okay. Well, I look forward to seeing your catches on YouTube once you get them uploaded. Jax, that's a good question. If you want to say that till later, we'll have that question towards the end. I didn't ignore you, but I just want to spend more time with him and um, let him uh, talk. So if you want to say that till later, we'll have questions when we're wrapping things up. Um, Now, has there been an instance whenever you're interviewing or you're talking confronting a pred where you wanted to pretty much lose your shit on that person? Like I know
yeah,
you said you went back to like your childhood whenever you got molested, but has there been an actual instance where you're like, okay, this is it?
um, there's a couple stories that I'm not going to tell you, but there's a
Okay.
couple I am. When I say I want to hurt these people, I will hurt these people under certain circumstances, man. And I'm not joking. That's not a threat. I'm just saying if I'm not like if I have to be focused, right? But um, there was one guy I busted. His name was Doug. He reached my phone like three times. I had two phones at the time, and he grabbed like he swiped for me a few times. And one thing you don't like, I don't always like being touched, right, or like reached at. That's something you don't do around, like, to me, I'll freak. So he was reaching out at me trying to get my phone and stuff like that. He grabbed my first phone, threw it, and it went like, I don't know, like 30 feet. And then he grabbed my other phone and smashed it, and he kept reaching for me. So I said, like, you do that again, I'm gonna fucking knock you out, right? And then he started swinging
Mhm.
on me. So at that point there was no camera because he already smashed it, and we got into a huge fight. And I just wanted to. There was that moment where, like, I was like, "Holy crap! The camera's off. What do I do?" And the first thing I thought of was pretend the camera's on, because if I don't, it's not going to end well. It will
Mhm.
not end well. I will lose my shit. He hit me a few times, and then eventually I got my camera back on. that was it. One of the other times, there was another guy I got like 6 weeks ago, and he was he. I almost told him to get out of the car like 3 times because he was kind of that controlling type. He was the one that I got near the train station. If people have seen that video, I don't know the guy's name, but he was in that white Fusion Ford, and I told him I was at the train station, and he was like, well, "I'm a board of directors guy. I work with kids all the time." There was like 3 times where I was so angry. I actually reached out my hand and I actually opened my mouth to say like get out of the blanking car, and I was gonna just absolutely obliterate him. I was gonna fight him, and I was gonna
Yeah.
smash the crap out of him because I was that angry of the way he was talking to me and the way he looked at me. Like I I had to tell myself to stop at least twice, and I had to literally I was opening my mouth to say it because he just made me so mad. And there was another guy named Dan that we got at the Tim Hortons, and his attitude was really bad. He started flipping and getting angry, and he almost got out of his car. And if he did, like, yeah, the cameras might as well have been off at that point. Again, I bring a camera because I don't like that part of me, and nobody wants
Hmm.
to see that shit, man. Because once I do something like that, like, there's no stopping me, man. And I'd rather just I that's why I do it, because when they do that, I really want to throw down with them. But then there's that choice. Like in martial arts, you always try and talk your way out of it first, and that's where the discipline is. And I applied it because it was like bring a camera, think before you speak, bring a camera because you know you're gonna lose your shit and probably put your hands on them if you don't. And then when the guy goes crazy, again, you're on camera and that discipline. They're like, yo, like what could happen? Maybe the guy's got a knife and he like takes me out, or maybe I one punch him out, and then I'm going to keep punching and keep punching and keep punching, right? So there's times where I'm like that, where I really want to pop off on these guys, and I just remind myself, no, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it.
Hmm.
Like, be a better person, be a better man than that. Because I'm quick tempered, right? Like I'm very quick tempered. Like people that know me, like I can be like either the nicest person on the planet, like way too calm, or I'm just way too intense, man. And yeah, so to answer your question, like there's been and that's why I've got a camera because I don't like I'd rather not. I'd rather stay out of jail. I'm going to the next guy,
Yeah,
and
it's not worth
stuff
you
like
going to
that. Like
jail
it's a
for.
discipline thing for me, man. But yeah, to answer your question, there's been a few times, man. I because I'm that guy that would lose it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to hurt these people a few times, and I busted. Yeah, it got real bad, and a couple times where I did something to a couple people, a couple preds, and I don't regret it because he was somebody I knew, and I just like some people know the detail. I don't want to say it on camera because like you can. Because it was really bad. Okay, he's not around town anymore, and I haven't exposed him on my channel yet because I never recorded the confrontation. It was kind of a messed up situation, but he's a person that went after a little girl, and I almost, yeah, like I lost it. I almost put my hands on him, and that's not even close to like anything, man. And there's another guy that used to be a teacher, and he was like he's like 65, and he touched like a 15-year old that was in his.
You broke up. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm
You
still
said
here.
the you said the teacher was touching a 15-year-old.
Yeah, he got caught. There was been like 2 teachers in my hometown that got busted in the last like 3 years meeting little kids, and they were both teachers that taught me in some capacity. And
So
I
you
saw
know
one of
them.
them in a store one time. Yeah, I know them.
You knew them and you
It was
caught them.
no, I didn't. I personally didn't catch them. They met real kids, and the kids came
Oh, okay. I got what
forward
you're
and
saying.
got
I got you.
yeah. And so like I saw them. I saw one of them like there was 2 teachers that did that, and I saw one of them in a store one time, And that was one of the worst days of my life, man. And if I saw that guy in a dark alleyway, that would have been it. I would be in jail for the rest of my life, man. So like stuff like that, I had to go. I had to just be like, yo, if I stick around, okay, like if I stick around, I'll lose it. So I left, and I left, and some crazy stuff happened after that. Nothing to do with him, but I lost my shit. So like it's very hard for me to. That's why I bring a camera, because like then I can learn from that experience to learn how to deal with it. Because I'm talking to them and I've got a camera, so I can't lose my crap, and it forces me to talk to them. So then I can deal with being around them more. So when I see one, I don't want to like just jump on them and hurt them as much. I can like deal with it from a different perspective and be more not. I don't want to say chill about it, but be more like mature about it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, like that's exactly why I bring a camera, because there's times where I would hurt these people, but I'm better than that, you know.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's not worth you going to jail whenever you're trying to put away a predator. You want to be able to put that person away, not yourself.
No, because I wouldn't be here talking to you if I went down that path, you know. Like, you
Exactly.
know, all the people that I personally caught would not have been caught if I, did something stupid back then, right? That's the thing, you know. Not that I care about my face or anything like that, but like if I stay out of jail, right, and I did, like I ended up here, and this is more important to me than being in jail over, because then the same cycle starts again. I'd be rotting in jail, like what the fuck, man? Like I'm miserable. There's these crazy people out there that are touching kids, and I'm in jail, and then they're free. They're free out touching your kids.
Yeah.
I
Now,
busted one guy named Calvin like 4 times, and he's hit up my account like 8 times, and he's still out there like talking to these kids and walking past kids I actually know, my friends' kids, and the cops are like, "Oh, he can do that." I'm like, "No, he actually rapes 14-year-old boys." Like, why are you letting this guy out in the street, man? Because, like, you know, and I just remember, like, like I busted him. People know about him. I had a camera, so remember, like, when I see him around town, I have to keep my cool. It's a small town. I see him all the time
you
walking
know,
around town, all the time. And I see other kids that are walking around. I'm like, small town. So all my friends go up to him, and all my friends know who he is. So every time he walks the streets and they see him, they go right up to him and they tell him they know what he did. But he's still online. I was supposed to meet him again for like the fourth or fifth time, like 3 days ago. I almost had him again like a week ago, and then he was talking to him another decoy account like 2 days ago, and it's like I don't know. I mean, there's something wrong, right?
yeah. And there's
So
something wrong with, I mean, doing it one time, but getting away with it time after time, and they're still not doing anything to stop them. And they know about it. Like you said, it's a small town. It's not like it's any secret. They know who he is. They should be able to build enough
yeah,
evidence to put this guy away. Are you able to read the comments?
yeah, I've shown them. I'm able to read the comment. I got that some of the top chat feed. I'm watching it through the computer too. I got only a few comments,
Okay.
if
That's
that's
fine.
what you're asking.
Yeah, I didn't know if that's what you were trying to do, if you were trying to read the comments or get better signal or whatnot. Letter jacks. Um, so where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you see the predator hunter as far as you doing more predator hunting? Bear with us 1 second.
Well, right now I'm just kind of trying to figure it out. Like my plan is like basically like yeah, like I don't know, like I'd like to continue doing this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like for me it's just financially hard. I don't mean to complain or anything like that. It's just
Yeah,
financially hard to
not
get
easy.
to places. So I just been making contacts with people like in the area that are like minded and seeing like I went to Toronto with anybody who's seen the video been following. Like I don't
What
I don't
video? You
drive,
broke
so
up. I
it's kind
don't.
of hard to get to places.
What video
But
was that? You broke up whenever you were trying to say it.
you know, so setting stuff up is sometimes a bit hard to get from point A to point B, but like I just trying to build like connections. So I've got a place to go to in Toronto every once in a while. So I go and head down there when I can get a ride to get okay, there we go. Yeah. So basically where I want to go with this is just doing this full time. The slight problem I have is money. So a lot of the stuff just comes out of my own pocket when I can afford it and can get down there. So like the basically like where I want to go is just with predator hunting is like wherever people need me, like I go. Like I just decoy on my phone, and whenever there's a meetup, I just go to it. When I
Mm-hmm.
can. But for me, not being able to drive or like always like having the financials to do stuff,
It limits
like
you.
it just kind of limits me to like where I am now. So I just kind of keep locally in the local places. So like one of the worst places in Canada is like in the middle of Canada between like Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba, and I'm kind of right on the edge of that. Like, and I kind of want to go and hit that area up sometime, but just trying to get connections and people and like you know what I mean. Like I kind of like knowing some people in the area that want to help because then it helps the states. The people, half the people I talk to are in the states. It's like
He's breaking up. Try to keep this a few more minutes. I don't want to
the
keep causing issues.
predators, and it's kind of hard getting from Canada down there, like with the situation and stuff like that. It's a little hard. So I'm just kind
Mm-hmm.
of hoping that making new connections. Are you still there?
I'm still here. We could try to wrap things up. I don't want to keep using more of your data. If there now's the time, if there's any questions for the predator hunter, you go ahead and start asking them now. I don't want him to keep having issues with his phone. I'll wait for the questions. Dead Twisted, you should meet up with CP Catcher and Justin Payne.
Yeah.
I think you still there, man?
Yeah.
We're just gonna ask a
Okay,
couple
so here's
questions
the
and we're gonna
deal with
wrap things.
that. Um, I wanted to reach out
It's
to
still
Justin
having.
Payne like years and years ago, but I just like I really like him because he lives like really close to the area. Like I don't live too far off from from them, by the way, like not like a couple hours, right? I wanted to
Oh, that's a good idea. I might just do that in the future if this issue keeps on happening.
keep saying it's disconnected.
Hey, man, I don't want to keep causing any more issues. Like I said, if you don't want, if you keep having the internet issues, we can wrap things up. What's up, Mr. PP?
It's kind of weird. Okay, there we go. But yeah, okay, you can hear it's just like I have a lot of anxiety and stuff like that, and I thought that was just his thing to do.
All right. Hey, man, I think what we're gonna do is,
Uh,
you there?
um,
I think what we're gonna do, man, is we're gonna have part two sometime down the future because I know you keep having the internet issues,
CP
and I don't.
catcher. Uh, I'm down to collab if like I there we go.
Yeah, it's still breaking up, man. What we could do, we could do a part two down the road when we get better internet service, or whenever you're not running out
Keep
of data as
texting
much.
me while I'm.
Hey, man, if it's all right, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I'll talk to you in just a moment.
There we go. Okay, it's just a couple people were texting me on the phone,
It's
but
okay. I just do.
just a quick thing though. If you're about
Okay.
your question, if I'm still on,
No, go ahead.
Justin Payne, I would have reached out. Oh, like, okay.
Look, so you would sub with, or you would collab with Justin Payne? Hey, man, I'm just gonna let you go. I'll talk to you in just a minute, and then we could set up something maybe down the road. I'm sorry about that. Just he kept on having internet issues, and I didn't want to keep causing issues with this data. Didn't mean to cut him off there. I just want to thank everybody for coming on and for listening to this interview. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you, PB, Cody, Mr. PB, Creep, L. See if there's anybody that I missed while I'm here. Twist. Thank you, Julie, for showing up. Husky. I just want to thank you guys. Thursday, I'll be interviewing Predator Southeast Texas. What's up, Booger? Um, I'll be interviewing you on Thursday night, so I look forward to that. And I want you guys to have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you guys for coming in.